Introduce someone who will make you all feel guilty for skipping the gym this morning. Deyl will join me on stage. Deyl Kearin and his lovely family that provided a lot of entertainment for us at Table 27 last night are coming from Southern California. Deyl is an amazing athlete and inspiring human being. I'm going to share a few of his achievements that he's had and try not to get tired from explaining them. But a few years ago, Deyl started a platform called Run for Poverty. He and some runners do a little ultramarathon every now and then to raise money for opportunity. In fact, he's completed a 155-mile, that's 155-mile run across the Sahara Desert and 170 across Grand Canyon. Goodness gracious. And then his team has tackled the Gobi Desert. I'm exhausted from this story. And Patagonia, which is wonderful. They've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in this work. So we're so thankful to have Deyl as part of the Opportunity family, and I can't wait to hear more about your inspiring story. Thank you, Deyl.
Fun to be here. My 9-year-old, thank you. My 9-year-old Summer told me right before I came up, said, "Dad, I do plays and stuff, so I have some advice for you." And she said, if you walk around a lot, use your hands a lot, be expressive, and smile a lot. And if you forget what you're going to say, just smile a lot. And do the floss, which I guess is some kind of dance. But so if I'm doing any of those, it's because she told me to. Thanks for having me. Like you heard, I'm from Southern California, and it's a lot warmer and sunnier there. And we walked to breakfast the other morning with socks on the kids' hands because this isn't our thing, the cold thing. So you guys are tough. I have a lot of respect for you. And while we're on the subject, I'm sure you've checked the forecast and know that tomorrow's fun run is scheduled or is predicted to be sub 40 degrees at 8 a.m. And consequently, the sign-up sheet is a little light. So a tool said that it's mandatory for all participants in the conference. So that's unfortunate. But the good news is, he said for a Run for Poverty donation in the amount of $5K gets you out of the 5K. So there is a way out. And he said if you get enough donors, he'll run in a tank top. So just thought I'd throw that out there. He's not here, so I think I can jab him a little bit. It's funny for me being introduced as an athlete because I was never an athlete growing up. That's a picture that's very telling in my life. That's me, number 24, in junior high, laying in the dirt, trying to keep up with my team. And in the background, you'll see my wife, Paige, who's in the back there. And she's looking good, like she's always looking good, cheering me on. And not a whole lot has changed in our life now. So this morning, I want to tell you a little bit about Run for Poverty, how I stumbled into ultra running, and then why we do what we do. So a little bit about Run for Poverty. Opportunity International is partners with us and pays for our race fee. And then Run for Poverty racers pay 100% of our expenses, do all the training, and do the race so that 100% of donations can go directly to Opportunity International and its clients. So it's a fun way for us to get new donors, attract new donors, and attract new dollars. And speaking of both new donors and dollars, we are currently training for a 155-mile race in New Zealand. Oops, there it is. Abby and Greg Starr, who are in the back as well, with their 1-year-old Roman, and I have been training. March is when the race is. So that's our next endeavor. And as you can tell, these are family endeavors. So everyone's going to New Zealand. Everyone pitches in, gives advice. Everyone plays their part. So the New Zealand race, you can picture sweaty runners eating Lara bars through the Lord of the Rings territory. So it should be quite an adventure. So the general format of these races is that you're self-supported. So what that means is you carry all your food and all your gear on your back in a backpack. So they provide water and tents But other than that, you're on your own. You run about a marathon a day for the first 4 days, and then the 5th day is a double marathon. So you have to save enough gas in the tank to push through that last day, which is tricky, to say the least. So 50 miles on sore legs is a challenge. So when I first heard about the 155-mile Sahara race, I didn't even know anything like that existed or was humanly possible. My friend tried to talk me into it, and I didn't want to back down, so I told him I'd consider it. And I figured I'd use my pregnant wife as an excuse, as the one that wouldn't let me do it, just so I could still appear manly. So I sat her down on the couch and said, hey, told her about it, and she looked me in the eyes and said, "Are you serious?" And I didn't know what to say, and I'm like, yes. And she looked deep into my soul and said, "You were born to do this race." And once again, my cheerleader cheering me on, and I thought, uh-oh, now I have to sign up. So I signed up, having no idea if I would make it through day one. So I also decided to raise money for Opportunity International. Years earlier, I had set a goal in my life to give away $1 million. And I had no idea how I'd do it or when I'd do it, but I didn't want to wait around, so I figured I'd rope a bunch of my friends into helping that goal happen. So they were happy to commit because I told them that it was contingent on me finishing. So they were appearing generous, like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll commit, lots of money. This surfer from California is not going to survive out in the Sahara." So I was able to kind of get a lot of pledges and commitments, them thinking I wouldn't make it that far. So fast forward to Egypt. So I'll take you into one of the moments I remember a lot. It's day 5 of my race, the 55-mile day. I've knocked out about a marathon a day in the previous 4 days in the 120-degree heat, and the thick sand and relentless dunes were just absolutely punishing. Around 7 p.m. that night on the big day, I turned on my headlamp, and everything in me wanted to give up. Everything in me said, "We're done. 140, you feel great about that. You can, but we can't do another 15 miles." And so I really considered giving up the race. And an unfamiliar song came through my headphones, and something ignited in me. I got up and I started running, and I started beating my chest and yelling, literally, into the dark of the Sahara. Pitch black, I'm all alone, and I'm yelling scripture, I'm yelling inspirational quotes, I'm yelling profanity. It's like Deyl versus the desert, here we go. But I start running, and I start running fast, and I'm doing about twice the pace that I ran the previous 140 miles. So I just had this runner's high that I still can't explain today, and that carried on for 2.5 hours. The remaining 15 miles, I almost don't remember it. It was like an out-of-body experience. And I crossed the finish line and collapsed and barely made it to my tent, but had victory and $50,000 raised for Opportunity. So it was... So there are a lot of reasons why I run these races. And one is that running through hot, crazy deserts or marathons in hot, crazy deserts is a nice little break from the office and the chaos of raising 3 kids. But really the biggest reason that I do these races is that these races have been a great teacher in my life, and I'll explain. Paige and I were originally hooked into Opportunity International over 15 years ago because we're entrepreneurs, and our parents are entrepreneurs, and even our kids are starting to show early signs of the disease. So it was a way for us to come alongside Opportunity International clients and help them start businesses. That's what we did. That's what they do. We get to help them. So Run for Poverty and all of my Run for Poverties have shifted that perspective. It's not me helping them. It's them helping me. When I run these races, I want to quit almost every single day, multiple times a day often. I reach the breaking point and I'm out of gas, but something keeps me going. And that is when I profoundly encounter the living God. He carries me. He carried me across that finish line in the Sahara, and he carries me through those moments when I don't think I have enough to keep going. Tertullian spoke it well when he said that weakness of the flesh is overcome by courage of the spirit. I do not live in the reality of my races. I don't live with limited resources in the harsh climates that I run in. I end my race at the JW Marriott and fly back to the comforts of Santa Barbara. It's not me helping them, it's them helping me. Most opportunity clients must dig deep to survive every single day. We all know this. They must persevere in hardship and continually push through the obstruction when they are at the end of themselves. Their courage of spirit keeps them going, and their courage of spirit keeps me going. It is an honor and a privilege to run for these friends, for they give me something that is of greater value than anything that money can buy. Their courage, their optimism, and their ability to thrive in the face of hardship is truly inspirational. I'm glad we're all here, being inspired by the optimism and ingenuity of great thinkers, business people, and leaders. But I'm mostly glad we're hearing real stories from our friends overseas, like Linda. They are the true heroes. They are why I run, and why I will continue to run, and why you will run tomorrow morning despite how cold it is. Thank you for the chance to share my story. Now, together, let's go out and run the race of eradicating global poverty. Thank you.